We're live. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Blue Collar Media Group. We're covering the wall-to-wall March Madness for you guys. Tonight with me, we got Jhett from the Frostbite Podcast. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm excited, man. I'm getting ready for this March Madness to go down and, cheer for my Bulldogs that I've been rooting for all year.
right. Also, we got Josh Palm with us tonight. His expert rankings for us. Josh Elliot. You can find him on Twitter at JoshElliot9. How's it going tonight, buddy?
Excellent. It's March, boys. I can't wait. I've booked Friday off, Saturday off. I'm doing nothing but sitting on my couch watching basketball. Maybe go hit a bucket of balls, too, in between there somewhere. It's going to be a great weekend.
Hell yeah. It's that time of year. Also, joining us tonight, our college expert, Davis Cordova. You can find him at DDog1123 on all the social platforms. How's it going tonight, Davis?
Might not be here.
He might just be a faceless blob tonight. We'll find out, though. But tonight's episode, as always, is brought to you by StatementGames. It's a non-monetary way of gambling. Basically, you pick one game, pick 10 props inside that game. If you get them right, you can get yourself some points for gift cards and rewards online. Mark and the boys over there do a great job with it. They're a tremendous sponsor of ours. We're happy to have them. But to go ahead and check them out at StatementGames.com. You can also download the app and get it all taken care of. But let's get into what you're here for, really. We're going to break down the East and the West for you tonight. Go matchup for you and see if we can't find you some winners for your sheets. So let's start with the playing game. We got Norfolk State, or as we like to call them, Jhett Folk State. 16-7 coming in against App State. They're not just a football school. They got in here on this basketball for us. But what do you think about this one, Jhett?
It's an interesting matchup. We got the champs of the MEAC going up against Appalachian State, who won the Sun Belt. The difference between these two teams is I think Appalachian State actually got some more notable victories in the sense of beating Texas State and Coastal Carolina, who were very good teams leading into their conference tournaments. They're also a bit of a deeper team. They've got three guards in Adrian Delph, Justin Forrest, and Michael Monarchy that all put up over 13 points a game. And they're a team that focuses on steals. They're about 44th in the country in steals. The only thing that really goes for Norfolk State in this one is that they're a great three-point shooting team. They rank 47th in the nation. But outside of that, they look to be a little bit outclassed in this matchup.
What do you think, Josh?
One thing that stands out for me here is that if you look at Norfolk State, their offensive adjustment pretty decent, but their offensive or their defense efficiency is way worse. And compared to Appalachian State, they faced actually a way worse of a record way worse shittier schedule compared to Appalachian State. So I could definitely see Appalachian State taking this. Their offense efficiency compared to Norfolk is similar. It's similar in numbers, but just the schedule alone, like the teams that they faced, hasn't been as good as what Appalachian State. So I can definitely see Appalachian State taking this game, personally.
Yep. That's kind of how I feel. What, Davis? You got any thoughts on this?
If he's
Are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you got any thoughts on Norfolk and App State?
Honestly, I never really watched these teams. I think I watched Norfolk State once, and they actually lost. Actually bet against them and succeeded. I'm taking Appalachian State just because they have all the other significant wins more than Norfolk State.
Fair enough, yeah. But like Jhett said, that's what I was reading earlier. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him play, but that steals. I like that in the NCAA tournament, especially since it could pile up. You get a couple steals and then, run off a few. It can definitely pile up on you. So I like App State there as well. The winner gets Gonzaga, who is obviously the darling of this bracket. Jets #1 team. His guys. He may or may not get a bulldog tattooed on himself before the end of the tournament. We don't know, but yeah, I mean, you want to just go into a little bit about what's going on with Gonzaga? I mean, I think everybody knows they're loaded up front with subs and stuff, but anything that might be a little nugget that people don't know about Gonzaga.
I mean, I've got 4 points down here. Ken Palm's got him ranked #1 offense, #10 defense. And I think Ken Pomeroy's statistics and rankings are something everybody should be paying attention to if they're going to be filling out brackets. Past that, their notable victories are all of them. They don't lose, period. Their featured players are Corey Kispert, Drew Timme, Jalen Suggs, Joel Ayayi. They're all studs up and down the lineup. And it goes even further past that, but I don't have all day for them. Key stats, they're the best field goal percentage team in the country, 7th assist to turnover ratio, 26th in steals, 59th in 3-point percentage, and 60th in rebounds. It's just well-rounded superstars all the way around.
Yep. I mean, basically it's them versus the pressure, correct?
Yep.
Of going undefeated
100%.
And trying to, win everything. I get it if you take them in your pool, to be right, but you're probably not going to win too many pools if you're taking Gonzaga, just because everybody's going to have them. They're loaded, and this has to be the year for Mark Few and the boys. It has to be.
Yeah, and when it comes to Gonzaga for filling out brackets, it's a bit of a catch-22, because if you want to be the outsider that doesn't have them going far, and then they do, well, then you just lost anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to take them at least to the Final Four. I think you have to at least have them. You have to at least take them to the Final Four. I don't really see anybody in this bracket, but we'll get into that. But I think you have to at least take them to the Final Four. Then that way you at least get all those points, and then try to figure out the upset from there, because they really are. It's them, a little step down Baylor, and then there's like a group of maybe like 4 or 5 more, and then everybody else. That's what I think. So, but let's get into this 8-9 matchup, because this is a fun one. This Missouri and Oklahoma. Oklahoma has been playing top flight competition all year. They've got some big wins inside the Big 12, and I've only watched this Missouri team recently, but they seem like they like to run a little bit. So, what do you got on this one, Jhett?
So for the Oklahoma side of things, we've got the 36th offense, 53rd defense. And as you said, they stacked up wins 2 against West Virginia, 1 against Kansas, 1 against Texas, 1 against Alabama. Those are no laughing matter. Those are big W's. They're led by a guard by the name of Austin Reeves. He's going 18-5-6 so far this year. One thing, though, is team statistics-wise, this team really only is notable in free throw percentage at 60th and turnovers per game at 32nd. Outside of that, it's a pretty average group. Missouri is a team that's about 50 range on offense and defense. They've beaten Oregon, Wichita State, Liberty. Big one against Illinois. Yes. Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida. So again, that's a nice resume. They might even have the better one in the fact that they beat Illinois. They're a little bit more well-rounded on the offensive side of things. Guards Xavier Pinson and Drew Smith lead the way, both at 14 points a game. And then Jeremiah Tillman's kind of the big man that controls the boards for them, getting about 7 per game. There's nothing really glaring about their team statistics on either direction, good or bad. But sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that just means you're a well-rounded team that does a bit of everything.
Yeah, that Pinson kid, he's pretty good. I like watching him play. Yeah, I know. I like that. This one's kind of got me on a couple of sheets where I've just split it. I've gone both ways because I don't really know. Oklahoma could be that team where they were in a tough conference all year, and now they get a complete change of style, and it just doesn't mesh. Regardless, I don't see either one of these teams being able to beat Gonzaga. So, you're pretty safe taking either way. Here's an interesting one. This is I've actually got the Santa Barbara in this one, but we're gonna go with Creighton, the 5 seed, Santa Barbara, the 12. That's always like a classic. 12-5, you always hear about it. But really the statistics don't bear that out. It's about 33% of the time, the 12 wins over the 5. It's just actually the 11 wins more over the 6 than the 12 does over the 5. But, it's just a classic type thing. We've seen Creighton there towards the end just fizzle out against Georgetown. They got absolutely hammered there. They got some controversy going on with their coach. A little bit of, I don't know, his speech, I guess, or whatever, cancel culture. His players supported him is the most important thing out of all that I got, that his players supported him. So that was good for me. But then UC Santa Barbara, we were joking around about them playing Irvine and the Anteaters, and then I actually watched the game, and they're quite impressive. I mean, they really like to shoot the 3, and they could run Creighton out of the building if they don't keep it up. But what are your thoughts on this one?
It's a very interesting matchup. I think the thing about Creighton is they play up to teams that are better than them, and they play down to teams that are worse than them. It's a very intriguing roster. I do, however, want to credit Georgetown for their victory in that Big East final. I think that had a lot more to do with Georgetown having a complete game than it did Creighton falling apart, although the score wouldn't dictate that. But I really do think Georgetown just came guns a-blazing. So with Creighton, we're looking at a team that has a very good guard, Marcus Zagorowski, 16-4-4 guy. And they're deep too. I mean, they got plenty of guys scoring over 10 points a game. And they shoot well, 29% from the field, or 29th ranked field goal percentage, not 29% from the field, and 31st in assists per game. So they're moving the ball around really nice. Santa Barbara, very impressive win against UC Irvine. I agree. I got the chance to watch a little bit of that, and they do look good. They've got 2 guards in Ajari Sani and Ja'Cory McLaughlin that both ball out pretty regularly. The issue is Sani's injured, and I'm not sure if he's going to be ready for the tournament. So we'll see there. But yeah, this is going to be 2 teams that shoot the ball so well. Creighton at 29th in field goal percentage. Santa Barbara is 21st in field goal percentage. This is going to be an absolute showdown. So if people end up picking Santa Barbara to win this game, I won't be shocked, but I'm also not going to be shocked if Creighton just wins anyways.
Yeah, I like the over in this one regardless. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah.
This is actually my first upset of the bracket. Creighton's loss to Georgetown kind of worries me. Like, they were demolished. That wasn't even a close game. They were demolished. And who knows? They could have been sitting guys. I don't know that for sure. But I think I like the way that Jhett was saying that they shoot the ball very well. And this could come down to a last-second shot. UC Santa Barbara with the ball. And I like Creighton to be upset here. I like UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually have the 12-13 in this one in my bracket. So, I definitely I like this. I like this upset a lot. Creighton just is fizzling out here at the end, and like you said, they can shoot, and Creighton really can't D up to really lock them down. So let's hop into that 4-13 matchup. All right. We got the Virginia Cavaliers and Ohio Bobcats. The Bobcats are always near and dear to my heart. They're very close to my home. I love them. But for me, I just don't want to piss with the COVID. They've got COVID issues in Virginia. We don't know how long that's going to go on. We don't really know what's really happening. I know they sent 6 officials home today from there. So that's not a good sign already. I don't really like them to go deep in the bracket anyway. So for me, it was an easy pick to go with Ohio and the big man in the middle, and to get this win over Virginia when they play that slow down basketball. I know Kenny likes them with a little bit more scoring. Maybe you can go into a little bit of that, Jhett. But I went with Ohio in this one.
Yeah, this is a very untraditional Virginia team. This is a team that's 25th field goal percentage, 18th from 3, and 3rd from the free throw line. So, I mean, when you're shooting like that and you're only giving up, they're 3rd in the nation in turnovers per game for lack of turnovers, I should say. So that's even another thing on the offensive side that they have completely got working for them this year. The concern obviously is COVID. It's got to be COVID. We don't know who's coming to the tournament, if they even will be in the tournament. That's still up in the air. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see on that one. It's going to be very important if they do play to figure out which of the players are out, because if a guy like a Hauser is out, or Jay Huff or Trey Murphy, that heavily impacts that Virginia roster. Not to waste all the time on Virginia, I'll talk a little bit about Ohio here. Now, they leave a lot to be desired defensively, but they've got the number 29 offense in the nation.
Yes.
That is very impressive. They also had a 2-point loss to Illinois this year. So they obviously can bang with anybody if they're able to do that. That had to have been their A game, though. The only other real notable game that they had this season was in the Mid-American Championship, where they were able to defeat Buffalo. And Buffalo was a team that was aspiring to make the tournament. They're very close. They've got a guard in Jason Preston. That's a 17-7-7 guy, and a forward in Dwight Wilson. That's a 15-1-8 guy.
Yeah.
Now, I need to clarify here. When I'm saying these statistics, it is important to keep in mind. You need to take these with a grain of salt, because Virginia is obviously going to play better teams than Ohio. But nevertheless, it is important to keep, just to have these numbers out there and realize what players do for their individual team. So that's why I say these. So Ohio has a shot, but I think the big asterisk is it depends on if Virginia is healthy or not.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm just not going to piss with it in the bracket. I'm just not. I'm not going to go in there and take them to go to the Sweet 16. And if they do, fine, no problem. But I'm just not going to mess with it. If they come out and say, "Oh, they got COVID tomorrow," and then they're out, and then your whole entire bottom of the bracket's blown up because you took them, and so. You need upsets to win this bracket anyway, so that's where I came down on it. But what do you think, Josh, about Virginia and Ohio? What do you think about everything that's going on there? You're muted, bud.
My bad. I don't know. It's a tough one because you don't know really kind of what's going on behind the scenes. I personally, I'm straight up. I want Virginia over Ohio. They're the better team. It's obvious over a team that I don't think is all that great. But yeah, it's the behind the scenes stuff that just you don't know that could totally fuck up your bracket or fuck up your bets or something silly like that. So, but if we put that aside, put it behind. I like Virginia to completely handle this game, control it all from start to finish. They're just too good of a team. And you always got to look at the over/under when Virginia's playing because it's probably going to be $1.25 or something like that. And with Ohio playing, you can see that going over. So, but yeah, I'd totally like to see Virginia to win this. So,
all right, yep. No, we all have the COVID concerns. That's where we're at with that game, pretty much. Now on to one of my favorite games of this whole. I cannot wait for Thursday for this game. We got Wichita State versus Drake in the play-in game. It's a matchup of two different styles, but they're both grinding, hard-fought teams. They both, are pretty much veteran-laden teams. Jhett, go ahead and break it down for us, and then we'll get into, where we think we're going to go with it.
Okay, so Wichita State's the 56th ranked offense, and they're the 103rd ranked defense. They really only have one notable win this year, but it was a very notable win in defeating Houston. They had a 1-point loss to Cincinnati as well, but outside of that, there's nothing really notable on their schedule. Their players, they really focus through the guard of Tyson Etienne. He's a 17-3-4 guard. He really is kind of the make or break player for that team. When it comes to Drake, we're looking at the 19 ranked offense, a little lower on the defensive scale at 120. They didn't necessarily have the best schedule, but they had a very good opponent in Loyola Chicago that they got to play 3 times, and they did manage to beat them once. Look for Loyola actually to have a pretty decent tournament here, but we'll get into that another time. They play through multiple guards, DJ Wilkins, Joseph Yesufu, and they're kind of just a team that shoots the ball well. From three from the field doesn't matter, and they do not turn the ball over. So I will not be surprised if Drake actually wins this basketball game.
Yeah, shortest team in the field. Drake's the shortest team in the field too. Just in case anybody wants to know, they don't have anybody that's gonna bang you or anything like that. They just shoot the lights out of the ball. It worries me about Wichita State with, they like to play these close games, and I just feel like Drake could run them out of the building. But I could also see where you said that they're 100th in defense. They're like inside of that though. They're pretty good at like with field goal percentage and stuff like that. Just it's a little bit weird of a number, I think, just because of this year. But I still like Drake in this one more than I like Wichita State. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know much about these two teams other than that it's Wichita State Shockers. And Drake's got a pretty good offense.
Yeah.
Gut feeling is not a huge fan of Drake's latest music, so I'm going to go with the Wichita State Shockers.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Well, and it is exactly as Paul said right from the start. This is completely a clash of two different styles. We're going to see if the big men win or if Drake can shoot the lights out. It's going to be one or the other.
Yep. And then the winner of that's going to take on Evan Mobley and USC. I am not sold on USC. I like the winner of that 11 game to actually give them all kinds of problems. But it's tough to say right now when you can't match up stat for stat with them. But they took an early exit out of the Pac-12 tournament, and I don't know. It could be just one of those things where he's just ready to go to the pros and not really worried about this tournament. But what do you think, Jhett?
They're an interesting team because they really force you to shoot from the outside. You're not going to get on the inside on USC pretty well ever. But if they match up against a team that can shoot from out there, they don't guard the perimeter all that great anyways. So, yeah, they are definitely an easy knockout for the right team. I just don't know if Wichita State or Drake are necessarily that team. Drake could be. They can shoot well, but it's going to be very interesting. As you mentioned, Evan Mobley, superstar. Taj Eddy, he's a guard for their team. He's great. But yeah, they just make their bread and butter off of the rebound game, and they're also 7th in block shots, so that's obviously very important to their defense.
Yeah. Well, you got any thoughts, Josh, on this one?
Yeah, like I told you before, like I don't know much on Drake and Wichita, so how they match up against USC, I don't know a ton, but I do know USC, one of the best defensive in the league right now. So yeah, you could definitely maybe see some problems, one of those two teams giving USC, but I think it's going to come down to a very defensive game. Look at the under on this one because USC's defense is very good. I think it is elite. The offense, a little sketchy. So I do like USC and whoever gets matched up here.
Gotcha. Let's hop into this Kansas, Eastern Washington. This is weird because it seems like we haven't seen Kansas in a while. Kansas, had the COVID issues in the Big 12 tournament. And like I said, I wasn't going to mess with it, but I can't take Eastern Washington here. I don't know, I just can't because I could see Kansas making a run. They went through that midseason lull, and then they kind of got it righted, and then they got the COVID during the tournament. So I don't know, Jhett, what you got any thoughts on this one, buddy?
See, the thing about this one is they're very much like Virginia in that we don't know what's going on with their COVID situation either. However, it does feel like they've kind of pinpointed which guy it is. It feels in the media like it's Jalen Wilson. He won't be traveling pretty much at all, and it's assumed that's likely due to COVID. But that's also knocking out David McCormick potentially, who's a very important forward for their team. So we really got to keep an eye on if he's going to end up playing or not. I think Kansas is still fine against Eastern Washington, even if both of those players are out, because Ochai Agbaji is just way too good to get eliminated by a team like that. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on Kansas's COVID situation for the deep run purposes.
You got any thoughts on Kansas, Davis?
Yeah. Jhett kind of took the words. Or sorry, were you going to me? Or are you going back, Davis?
Well, I thought Davis. I was trying to see if Davis was here, but yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Josh?
yeah, I was just gonna say, Jhett kind of took the words right out of my mouth. You're just kind of unsure what's going on behind the scenes in Kansas, but they still match up pretty good against Eastern Washington. I do not see Eastern Washington taking over Kansas in this game, but yeah, like this is just such a weird year, and there's a lot of things that I think that we're and the public just doesn't know. Like we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's going to be a weird tournament. I have a feeling, but getting back to this game, Kansas should easily take Eastern Michigan. Doesn't matter who's out for them. So,
gotcha. Any thoughts, Davis? I don't know. All right. Let's hop on down to this is one of my favorite matchups, actually. Oregon versus VCU. I mean, I really, really believe this is one of those tournament games that comes down to officiating, how it's officiated. If it's ticky-tack and it's close, Oregon's going to blow them out. If they let them play, VCU's defense can take over the game and turn Oregon over and win that game. I really believe that Oregon's the better team, but I could see VCU winning this game. I could also see, it really depending on how it's officiated. But what do you think, Jhett?
I think this game can be won by VCU, but it again comes down to that officiating because they've got probably the best player in the game in Nashawn Highland.
Yeah.
He's a guard for the team, 22-5 this year, like just lighting it up. And that defense is impeccable. They're 6th in steals and 5th in blocks in the entire country. Both those stats. That's ridiculous. So, as long as they can keep their big gun in the game and they're able to go shot for shot, they will be able to get stops defensively. So I kind of like VCU in this game, but I'll give credit where credit's due. Oregon is by far one of the best offenses in this tournament. They've got a lot of high-powered guys. They shoot great from three. They shoot great from the field. So, it's really a contrast of style, and it will very much so come down to officiating.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Let's hop down to Iowa and Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is a great story. I mean, they haven't been – this is their first trip and, their first title out in the WAC. So, congratulations to those guys. You worked your butt off. You got here. But your reward is probably the Naismith Player of the Year and Luka Garza. I don't know any team really outside of Illinois that matches up with him on the inside. I don't know too much about Grand Canyon, to be honest with you. But when you have the best player on the court, I feel like Iowa should handle this game. But what do you think, Jhett?
This is super, super interesting, and here's why. Grand Canyon has a 7-foot center named Asbjorn Midgard, who's probably their best player, and he's averaging 14 and 10. Now, I'm not going to act like he's, going to be anything close to Luka Garza, but the thought's there. I mean, he's a 7-footer. That's kind of cool, right? So the idea here is, if you took Grand Canyon to win, it'd, be maybe interesting because you can't have them go past this game, but you could certainly see a way that they could win it. They just have to find a way to get Midgard to stop Garza, which that's a tall task for anybody. Right.
You got any thoughts, Josh? Do you know anything about Grand Canyon? Like really crazy?
No, I don't know anything about Grand Canyon. Also have not been to Grand Canyon. Would like to go sometime, but that's a conversation for another time. Iowa, very good team, obviously. Number 2 seed. They did step it up. I did like the way they kind of finished off there in their conference tournament. I just can't take Grand Canyon. 1, because I don't know anything about them, and 2, they got Luka Garza, and Iowa's really good. So simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't mess around with this game. Just pick Iowa. But like I said, it's fun. There's a 7-footer, so that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can catch us live. We're going all week with this stuff, guys. That wraps up the East for us. But catch us tomorrow night at 7:30, Thursday at 7:30. Tomorrow night we'll break down the other side of the bracket for you guys. and then Thursday we'll pick the official BCMG bracket. So that ought to be fun. We'll have a bunch of guys on here and giving their opinions. So it should be very interesting of how that turns out. I'm very interested in it because trying to get 5 guys to agree is probably going to be pretty much impossible. So
that's why we got the odd number.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that ought to be a lot of 3-2s. So tune in for that. That should be a fun time. But you can follow at bluecollarmg.com. Go to the website. We have breakdowns of all 68 teams for you guys on there. Even Kenny is really into the automatic qualifiers. Jhett did a great job on the automatic qualifiers as well. So it gives you a bunch of information to at least make maybe an informed decision on an upset that could win your sheet. So definitely check that out at bluecollarmg.com. But let's hop out into the West. So we got another playing game. We got Mount St. Mary's and we got Texas Southern. I always have a soft spot for Texas Southern, Glory Road. So, that's the way I'm leaning because I don't know anything about Mount St. Mary's. I did watch Texas Southern win. So, what do you think, Jhett?
There's really only 2 things to know about Mount St. Mary's. They've got a guard named Damien Shonqui who is averaging 15, 6, and 4. He's probably their best player, and they're a team that's 56th in block shots per game. So outside of that, nothing really special about them. They won the Northeast Championship over Bryant, but I mean, whatever. Texas Southern, they beat Prairie View for the SWAC. And I like that Michael Weathers kid, that guard that they got down there. 17, 4, and 5. That's pretty nice. They're 5th in rebounds per game, 31st in offensive rebounds per game, 29th in blocks per game. That's a big team, it sounds like. So I got to figure Texas Southern is going to pull it.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, another game. Don't know anything about them. Just a couple stats. Texas Southern, I think their offense efficiency is about a positive 4 or 5 compared to their defensive efficiency. So I could take Texas Southern in this one. I think St. Mary's 12 and 10. Don't really like them. I like what Jhett said. They're all big. Yeah. So yeah, take Texas Southern here.
Oh yeah, no, I like that Texas Southern team. I think that could be some easy money for you on Thursday. So definitely put that in there. Then the winner of that gets Michigan. Michigan kind of scares me a little bit. They seem like maybe the shakiest of the ones right now. The Livers injury could come back to hurt them, but they're very deep, and I love Juwan Howard as a coach. For him to go after that Wisconsin coach was great. I love that. I mean, that's the kind of guy I am. Like, don't come at somebody if you don't expect them to come back at you. So, I love that out of Juwan Howard, and I think his team exudes that out of him. So, but go into a little bit about Michigan stats there a little bit. I mean, I just feel like they're deep. They are talented. I just feel like there's something off with them.
Yeah, well, they've got a great young big in Hunter Dickinson, as well as a solid guard, Franz Wagner, who's Moritz Wagner's brother. He's having a great year, and he's probably the 3rd best player on the team behind Isaiah Livers, who, as you mentioned, is injured. And I haven't checked if he's going to be back anytime soon, but if he's out, that's going to hurt the team for sure. Not enough for them to lose to a 16 seed, however. It's a team that's number 6 in the offense in the country, number 7 in defense. And they've got a plethora of very nice wins this season. They shoot the ball well. They don't turn the ball over. That's the kind of teams that win in the tournament. So even though there's a little bit of a scare here with Livers' situation, I think we're fine moving them past the 16, and then we could take a look at the 8-9 later on.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, first of all, great choice of words there, Jhett. Plethora. Geez, respect the name game there. Second of all, yeah, if you watch that game against Ohio State, they definitely were off. They were down, I think, as much as 15 late in the game. But I mean, they made that big comeback, right? And then they were leaving. So I mean, there's definitely some positives to take out of that game for them. I don't see them losing this game at all. But yeah, like you said, it could definitely those little injuries could come back and bite them here late in the tournament. So, but yeah, Michigan here, obviously the better team. Doesn't matter who they have on the court, really.
Yep. No. But then this is one of the most interesting 8-9 matchups we got. We got LSU, who, I mean, they really should have won the SEC. I mean, the ball's halfway down. I mean, it pops out there at the end.
I had them.
Yeah, I mean, it pops out. And then we got the Bonnies of St. Bonaventure, who they've been playing well all year, honestly. And they closed it out to get in 8-9 matchup. I think either one of these teams could give Michigan problems depending on what happens. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning LSU in this game just because of their athleticism and length. But I could see St. Bonaventure's winning this for sure. What do you think, Jhett?
I've just been absolutely pulling my hair out about this game because I so badly want to pick St. Bonaventure. I really like the fact that they're the number 17th ranked defense. And they're another team that really doesn't turn the ball over, so they're never beating themselves. And I got so much respect for teams that can do that because it takes mental fortitude to be able to do that.
Right.
My issue with them, though, is really their only two big wins this year was against VCU, who's in their conference. Now, of course, one of those was in the conference championship, so good on them there. But LSU's got so much firepower. They score at will, it seems, at times. Cameron Thomas is an absolute monster, 23 points a game almost. So I really don't know what direction to take this. It's incredibly hard to decide. I might end up just flipping a coin.
Yeah, no. That's where I'm at with it. What do you think, Josh?
That always works sometimes too, Jhett, flipping a coin.
Yeah, that always works. 70% of the time it works every time.
That always works sometimes.
But to me, LSU, hottest team in college basketball right now. Of course, you have your Zags, your Michigan teams, your Illinois teams. They had no business beating Arkansas. They had no business being in the game against Bama, which they should have won, like you said. And they had no business being there. I have LSU going deep in this tournament, and victim number one will be St. Bonaventure by a landslide.
Gotcha. I like that. I like it. I like that confidence. I do.
This might be their toughest game.
Could be. Well, could be.
That's how confident I am in Jim.
But then let's hop into this fun matchup now. You got Georgetown, who made the run, closed out with Creighton, got a Big East championship, got Patrick Ewing all fired up, the 7-foot-tall guy that his jersey's in the rafters, guys at Madison Square Garden. Come on, you know who he is. And against Colorado, who Kenny's been beating the drum for them for 2 weeks now, about being the best free throw shooting team in the country. So, which is always bodes well in the tournament. But I don't know. I mean, does the magic wear off for Georgetown, or does the streak continue? What do you think, Jhett?
Well, okay, here's my thing with Colorado. So they've beaten USC 3 times. Is that an accomplishment if you're Colorado? What do you think, honestly? Or are they just frauds? If we're considering them frauds, then throw out 3 of those dubs. I mean, it sounds crazy to say that, so maybe I shouldn't put it that way. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Oregon is another team that, okay, so they had one night where they shot better than Oregon. Cool. They beat Oregon State twice, too. Of course, they won their championship, but up until that point, were really nothing special. And then I think UCLA is one of the biggest frauds in the tournament, and that's another notable win that they had. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Colorado. It's super impressive that they're actually second from the free throw line. And it's also impressive that they don't turn the ball over a lot. Again, I'm going to keep beating that drum. I think that's huge. But there isn't a whole lot that gets me going other than maybe McKinley Wright on the roster of players that I think could elevate their game. So that's interesting. And Georgetown is an interesting matchup because they are one of the hottest teams coming in just because of that run they went on in the Big East tournament. They've picked up 2 wins against Creighton. One of them was in the final where they beat the tar out of them. And they've also beaten Villanova. So Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss with this game too. It's very tough to call. They're a little bit deeper as well with Georgetown, and they're significantly better at rebounding the basketball, which, as we know, can really turn games. So, yeah, this is going to be one of the last picks that I make in my bracket.
Yep, definitely. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, like I said it on last week, Georgetown's upset with Patrick Ewing, with that whole what happened with him not being getting entered into the stadium. That being said, they might not be as pissed off as they were last week. So, we could definitely see this fizzling out a little bit. The thing with Colorado is they shoot the ball well from behind the arc. They're a pretty decent team from behind the arc. And I just don't know if Georgetown can stop it. I got to go with Colorado on this one, just on that alone. The spread is 5, so I can definitely see this being a close game. So if you're looking for a little spread pick, maybe take Georgetown +5.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to come down to the last-minute shot, honestly. But then hop into this is one of my darlings. I like Florida State. I like the way they play. I like Leonard Hamilton. I think that they're long, they're athletic, and they can lock you down on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what wins in these tournaments usually is a team that can defend. You gotta weather the 8-0 runs and stuff like that, and they can do that with their defense. They're probably one of the longest and most athletic teams in this whole tournament. So I like Florida State a lot. What are your thoughts, Jhett?
Well, I like that Leonard Hamilton is very well known for keeping his guys accountable. If they have a rough night shooting, they will be held accountable. And it shows in their statistics. They're 37th in the nation in field goal percentages, and they're 8th in three-pointers. Like, that's incredible. Past that, I really like his coaching style in the sense of he keeps everybody involved all the way from the top guy to the bottom guy. Everybody's in sync at all times. They can always plug and play whatever's necessary, and they can work with their roster to base it around who they're facing because of it. So, I've got no problem taking FSU winning this game for sure.
Any thoughts, Josh?
No, other than that they, before the conference tournaments, kind of did take a little bit of a dip. They gathered themselves at the tournament and played very well. And, I like them. Don't know much on UNC-Greensboro. Florida State, I like the Seminoles here to win handily.
Yeah, and now this should be a good, interesting little debate here because we debated back and forth when we were doing these articles about Michigan State, saying if they were in and out. We ultimately decided that they were in. That's why we wrote a snippet on them before the bracket dropped. Basically, I would say that those 3 Tier 1 wins in the last 2 weeks is what put them in. Probably that Michigan win is what actually tipped the tournament in their favor off the bubble, I would say. I'm with you, Jhett. I think UCLA is one of the biggest frauds there is, and I like Izzo in March anyway. So what are your thoughts?
So their last win against a team that's in the tournament was January 30th against Oregon State, and I'm talking about UCLA here. They won 57-52. Since then, they lost 6 games, won 4 games, and the 4 games they won obviously were against teams not in the tournament. Michigan State, however, has been starting to turn it around real quick, and everybody knows that Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in college basketball. So not only do I have my eye on Michigan State to win this game, I'm intrigued to see if they can go past this because it's pretty well known that every year there's one of these teams that play in that have to, or that rather win the next round and get into the round of 32. Yep. Sorry, I tripped on my words there a bit, but you know what I'm saying. There's always one, one.
Yeah, they usually make a Sweet 16 run. Honestly, usually, if they get past that first game, they usually make it, past another game. So, what do you think, Josh? Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I'm not ready to call UCLA frauds. Can't talk either. I made a lot of money on them this year. I think they played very well against teams. That being said, the schedule that they face compared to what Michigan State has not comparable. I like Michigan State here. They've really, really turned it around in the second half of the season, which is awesome. And beating teams that they weren't probably supposed to. So I like Michigan State here to win against UCLA. And I think the UC Michigan State go a little bit further.
Yep. Nope, I agree. But let's hop into that one because they get the winner of that gets BYU. I've only watched one BYU game, and that was the Gonzaga game because I was interested to see, if Gonzaga got into a close game, how it would be. And they provided that, but they also provided, with what their flaws are. They blew that lead down the stretch. I mean, they got completely outmanned in the second half, and Gonzaga just pulled away from them. And I don't know much else about BYU. What do you think, Jhett?
So BYU actually hung with Gonzaga pretty well from what I saw. But what I do know, the most important thing about this team is they've got a guy named Barcello who shoots 52% from the floor. He's 49% from three and 86% from the free throw line. When you've got a weapon like that, you can kind of get away with some things. I mean, you tack on the fact that they're 24th in field goal percentage as an entire team. And like that, I don't know, like as much as I was just saying Michigan State could go on a run, BYU might not be the team to want to be facing to do such a thing. They spread the ball out really well too with 17 assists per game. And actually sometimes I think that hinders BYU because Barcello is not taking as many shots. But at the end of the day, they still have that guy. And if it comes down to, okay, we need a bucket, they got a guy that can get a bucket. So another game that I don't want to pick right now, but it's going to be interesting.
Yep. What are your thoughts, Josh? You think Michigan State's going to roll through this one?
I do, and here's why. BYU is an elite. The teams that they have faced. I mean, just like UCLA, Michigan State has had such a tougher schedule than basically everybody else. And I'm not ready to call BYU elite, but I like Michigan State here to upset BYU, and just roll. I think they're going to roll a little bit here. So, yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot. Then we hop into Texas versus Abilene Christian. Texas obviously won the Big 12. They've been playing great lately. I love Shaka Smart as a coach. I do. You'll never see the horns up for me. I'd always be horns down, but I'd like them to make a run out of this bracket if they get the right matchups here. Abilene Christian is 23-4, but I don't know anything about Abilene Christian. I'm just going to tell you that right now. What are your thoughts, Jhett?
Okay, so Abilene Christian's a very interesting team for pretty much one reason. They'll average about 10 steals per game, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. But they also average about 14 turnovers per game. Now, obviously, if this is just a standard, we're going statistical reasoning, that's no good. But if they ever, for whatever reason, had a game where they could control their own turnovers and yet still produce the same amount of steals in a game, they could really steal a game from a team that would not expect it. The issue, though, is in this specific game, they're going up against a Texas team that is not easy to score on. They're just a whole bunch of long bodies. So even if you're getting steals, sometimes you might just get caught up to by a guy that's just a freak athlete. So interesting little anecdote for Abilene Christian, but I don't think it's enough to beat Texas.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Texas is too good. Abilene Christian, they're 23-4, but they just don't match up well against Texas. Texas is too big, too strong, too good offensively, too good defensively. They'll handle this one easily.
Yep. Hopefully for our good friend Ernest Silva that they do, so he doesn't.
Horns up.
Yep. No, you won't get me to say that. But this is a matchup that I've been scratching my head about, and I feel like I'm going to lose my sheet pool by like 2 points, and it's going to be this game right here because I have no idea who to pick here. That Maryland team, they kind of impressed me there a little bit during that Big 12 or Big 10 tournament, but I don't know. I kind of like UConn too. They usually play good at tournament time. But what are your thoughts, Jhett?
I got to go with UConn in this one. I think they've got 4 players that are averaging at 5 rebounds or more per game, and I just think that's way too impressive compared to Maryland, who's below average at rebounding. Nothing really glaring on either side outside of that, and that's why I think I lean UConn, is because they actually do have a part of their game that is very, very good, and it's getting to the glass. So for that reason, I got to go UConn.
What are your thoughts, Josh?
I'm going to go with just the hottest team that was down the stretch here. Just looking at their last little bit of games, Maryland losing 3 out of their last 4, 1 to Northwestern, Penn State, and Michigan. They beat Michigan State. But in UConn, I mean, they won 5 of the last 6, losing to Creighton by 3 at their last game. But if you look at the games that they did win, Georgetown they beat twice. DePaul they beat by 34. Georgetown by 16. I mean, I like UConn right now. I think they're really hot. I think they're shooting the ball very well, and they're winning games by a lot. So I like UConn to beat Maryland.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with UConn, and then if I lose, I'm blaming both of you. Perfect. No, but let's get into this one here, because Kenny shocked me last night on the Shooter Shoot pod. Kenny Cotterill shocked me last night when he picked Iona to upset Alabama. Then he didn't pick Iona to win in to go to the Sweet 16, which I thought, if you're going to roll Iona to win, you got to go all the way there, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, but he did have a pretty good argument for it. I do like Rick Pitino. I love Rick Pitino at this time of year. There's nothing better than a drunken Rick Pitino in a bubble. That would probably be worth the price of admission right there, to see him running around Indianapolis blowed up at night. So, I would look forward to that. But hop into a little bit of some of the statistics and what Kenny sees in this upset here.
Well, it's undeniable that Iona has a really good defense. They're in the top 50 in defense in the country. So that's one point. Another thing about Alabama that's both a blessing and a curse is they're 8th in pace in the country. Now, that can go one of 2 ways, because a lot of people like to think that pace means that you're necessarily going to win, and it's not always that way. If you're rushing things, if you're not doing it effectively, if you're not making good decisions when you're going fast, you're going to turn the ball over. It is that simple. And so I think that there's a chance that maybe Alabama could put themselves in a bad position, because perhaps they overlook this game. Maybe they think they can just run and gun and they're not playing anybody. That's not the case with Iona. You got to play legitimate offense to beat them. Their defense is solid. Pitino's got them coached up. Another thing, too, is the advantage on the free throw line is actually in Iona's favor by a significant margin. So if it becomes a game of fouls, if the refs control this game, Iona can very easily win this at the line. So I see what Kenny's getting at for sure. I'm going to have to take a second and third look at this game before I ever think of taking Iona. But I get it. I see it.
Yeah, no, I at first I was like, it's just a crazy upset pick, and then the more I dug into it, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, and that's how you have to win brackets anyway. You have to pick games that people don't pick. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I gotta disagree with all of you. I don't know what the hell you guys are drinking, or
no, I'm not. I didn't say I was taking Iona. I just said that Kenny surprised me, because he's like Mr. Level-headed guy. So when he says something like that, I listen.
Well, Kenny must have been into the whiskeys last night, because I do not like Iona here. This year specifically was a very interesting one with the season. Teams were playing within their conference. They weren't doing any interconference, or they weren't playing any other conferences. So you can definitely compare stats a lot better, I think. So if we look at Iona, they are ranked 321st in terms of toughness of schedule, compared to Alabama, who is 32nd. 27th. I don't see Alabama losing this game at all. I don't like Iona. I don't think I trust them at all. That being said, The only reason I wouldn't trust Bama is because I didn't think they played all that well at the conference tournament. I didn't think they played their full potential. I don't think they're going to go – Bama's not going to go deep, not super deep, but it's not going to be Iona that's going to stop them in the first round. So give me Bama by a ton of points.
Usually if a 2 seed's going to fall, it's because 15 is playing their A game, which when you're coached by a guy like Pitino can very well happen. And with Bama, I just think the concern has to be, do you think they would just overlook this game? And I think you have to ask that question about every single 2 versus 15 game. Sure. You have to look at these rosters, look at how they've played throughout the year, and ask, will they take them as serious as they should?
Yeah.
No, that's
and the shooting. The shooting too. It can come, it can go. You start forcing stuff, and then you get into these weird situations, and it can happen. But that wraps up the left side of the bracket. Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. Jhett, why don't you tell the people where they can find you at? Thanks for all your information tonight. It was right on point. Appreciate everything. But tell the people where they can find you at.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. So you can find me on Twitter at Frostbite Pod. We're also on Facebook. You can just look up Frostbite Sports Podcast. You'll find us there. Just keep listening. Check back tomorrow. The right side's going to be very fun. And then the next day after that, we're picking that BCMG bracket. You're going to get a lot of knowledge that you wouldn't get anywhere else. I can promise you that. So stop on by when you can.
Hell yeah. Josh, why don't you tell the people where they can find you at? This is going to be our gambling goober for all this March Madness going on. And, just a bit outside. So tell people where they can find you at, and about call your shot on Thursday, and we'll get you out of here, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me at Josh Elliot 9 on Twitter and Instagram. Everything gambling, everything sports, and I'm also a gambling Twitter show called Just a Bit Outside. We do video plays every Thursday. I'm assuming that is going to be a lot of NCAA basketball plays for you. So check out that. Friday morning technically, and then Thursdays Call Your Shot, our competitive gambling show, and that's going to be very NCAA basketball themed this upcoming week. I have a feeling Jhett will be on there, Paul yourself, and then Dylan, and as well as Kenny. So there's going to be a ton of basketball picks if that's what you're looking for. If you want to make some money on some March Madness gambling, make sure to catch Call Your Shot this Thursday. So.
Yes, sir. But that's it for me. I've been your host tonight, stepping in for Kenny, which was not even close to the same, but I did the best I could. But you can find me at SteelCurtainPEH on Twitter, and go over to bluecollarmg.com. We got all the breakdowns there for you. Follow us on Twitter at bluecollarmg. Definitely sign up for our bracket. It's $200 free, guys. I mean, you're putting in brackets everywhere anyway. You might as well get a chance for $200 without having to put in any money at all.
Even a copy of a bracket you already made.
Right. Even just whatever, you know what I mean? Just put it in there. That we're trying to make it a little bit better March for everybody. So, get over there and get that done. But thanks for tuning in tonight. Stop back tomorrow, and then definitely catch us on Thursday for our official bracket. Later, guys.